Good morning. I'm Damien John, and today I want to work out whether using a thermal scope is useful and beneficial for the everyday birdwatcher and bird photographer. Today, I would like to concentrate on the concept of using a thermal scope as a tool, opposed to simply reviewing this one scope itself. But for those who are interested, this is a Zeiss DTi 1/19, and it is their entry-level model in their wide range of thermal scopes. This one retails around $899 here in the UK, and I've got to mention, Zeiss did not give me this. I have borrowed it from a friend, meaning I can be as honest as I want. So if I don't like it, you're going to know about it. The first location I've come to today is this bird hide, and that's for two primary reasons. Reason number one, I can physically see the birds. So I'm going to look at the birds, then check them out using a scope. This will give me an idea of just how sensitive the scope actually is and what range I can realistically work with. Secondly, I want to check out all of the reeds and hopefully find some hidden ducks, maybe some snipe, or if I'm really lucky, potentially a bittern. But again, that'll all depend on if the bird is actually here and just how sensitive this thing is. This particular scope has 8 different imaging modes, things like white hot, red hot, rainbow. Now, I tend to find that black hot works best when looking at birds on the water, because the water goes white and anything with a heat signature goes black, meaning it's very easy to pick out what's actually out there. But it's a very different case for when you're looking over the reeds, where I find that red hot actually makes a lot bigger difference. One issue I'm experiencing now the sun started to come up is that I'm getting false readings. So the light is reflecting from the reeds in front of me, and it's actually showing up as a heat signature, as obviously it's reflecting the heat from the sun. Now, I have been switching between the different modes, again the red hot, white hot, rainbow, but for the most part they're all still kind of confusing to the untrained eye, aka my eye. So what I think I'm going to do is head on off for a walk. Now I've gauged the general capabilities of the bit of kit, and I'm going to go into the woodland and try to find some small birds there, because I'm having a bit of trouble now the sun's come up. So let's go have a look. I've just made my way to this little clearing on the edge of the woodland, so I've got undergrowth and trees all around me in a 360. Now, so far the scope has actually come in handy, because I've just found 2 great tits hidden in the undergrowth. For argument's sake, I probably could have found them eventually with my binoculars if I'd sat there for long enough and just scanned for movement. But with this, I was actually able to find them in under a second, which is really cool. Again, they were just too well camouflaged, I couldn't see them. Now, this hasn't helped me to get any photos today, because by the time I'd found them with the scope, Got my binos on them just to double check the species, because with a scope, I can only really see the bird as, well, a blob, to put it bluntly. The detail isn't there with this particular scope. So yeah, the second I've got my binos on them and then got my camera up, ready to take a shot, the bird has often just flown away. So as a bird photography tool, maybe not the most useful just yet, but in terms of spotting and actually finding the bird, it's actually been really quite useful so far. How cool were those little mushrooms? I might have to break out the macro lens again and do an autumnal video. What do you reckon? I've just been walking up this path and I've had the scope on all of the trees to my side, just hoping to find something cool. And I came across a reading on one of the trees, and I initially thought it was another false indication caused by the bark of the tree being warmed up by the sun. It's now a modest little 12 degrees where I am as well. Anyway, got my binoculars on the tree, and as it turns out, there is actually a bee's nest. So I can see a little opening, probably caused by a woodpecker, where bees are coming in and out in actually fairly decent numbers. So given the indication on the scope, I'm presuming that the nest goes upwards because, well, that's where I can see the warmth. So not something I thought I would find. You know, I thought I'd just be seeing squirrels and blackbirds all day, but that's a pretty cool one. Since my initial recording, taken out in the field, I've had some time to reflect on my conclusion. Do I really think adding a thermal imaging scope would be a worthwhile accessory for the average birdwatcher or bird photographer? Now, put simply, while I did find it useful in some situations, I think for the average birder it would soon become an expensive paperweight, something which is nice to use on select occasions, but I think you'll find yourself picking up your trusty binos more often than not. So with that being said, who would actually find a thermal imaging scope useful? I believe that birdwatchers and photographers alike, who are after a very specific species in mind, could find one really useful. But I'm talking species like jacksnipe, woodcock, or maybe partridge hidden in heather, animals with really effective camouflage. Now of course, your use case may vary, so please let me know otherwise, but would you actually add one to your own kit bag? And I'm sorry to end on a voiceover, but I felt that the gushing review I had originally intended to air was just a little too one-sided. So yeah, please let me know your feelings, let me know your thoughts, and with that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching once again, so please like, comment, subscribe, and of course, I'll see you in the next one. See you later, folks.